All year round, the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation has local classrooms on their minds, focusing on fundraising to help teachers execute their lesson plans and enrich the learning of students all across the greater West Bloomfield area. Recently, their strategies for fundraising have changed a little bit. Some new programs on the horizon in 2026 already on the way and already in motion as we speak. But the impact in our schools has only grown stronger over that period as well. Here with the latest is Juliet Jozwick and Kelly Petrocella from the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation. Ladies, thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us, Tyler.
Glad to have you on. Juliet, I'm going to start with you. Can you share sort of how the strategies in fundraising have changed so far in the end of 2025 into 2026 and how that's already having an impact on these classrooms that the funds and these programs are supported by?
Thank you. Yes, we added a lot more programming to our fundraising efforts. We did a photo shoot. We have kindergarten kits that we are selling, raising money for the foundation, and we switched up our very big annual fundraising event just to change things up because we've been doing the casino night for years, probably a decade, and we wanted to kind of give the opportunity for our supporters for something new, something fun.
And you know, some of those changes are a bit off of the tradition of years past. Of course, casino night, something that people loved to attend each and every year, and now that's not going to be there anymore. But how do you replace that with new traditions and bring something in that you know will excite the people, but also be able to be so exciting that it brings in that same sort of excitement, of course, that fundraising from something like casino night in years past?
Yeah, I mean, fundraising can be fun, and so we actually are going to do a Kentucky Derby Gala. May 2nd is when the actual race will be, so we'll be able to watch the race live. We will have games, we'll have contests for best dress, couples, and best hat. We have one of Metro Detroit's really well-known bands. It's called 40 Amp Fuse. They're going to, 50 Amp Fuse, who are going to be, just having people up and dancing. We're going to have dinner. We're going to have just wonderful opportunities for people to connect. They can really dress up in their seersucker suits and their fancy dresses. And it truly is all for a great cause.
Juliet Jozwick and Kelly Petrocella are with us from the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation. Kelly, I want to bring it over to you now because this fundraising can bring in a lot of money that can go a long way to help our teachers and ultimately help our students. So as those funds come in, how is it determined where they ultimately end up and what programs they support in our schools across West Bloomfield?
That's a great question, Tyler. We have a grant program that we offer to teachers and staff throughout the district. So they are able to apply at the beginning of the school year through till about October for grants. We have guidelines on what we will approve grants for, and they submit those, and then we go through each grant. And really our goal is to give every teacher and staff member that applies for one the grant as long as they fall within the guidelines of the West Bloomfield Education Foundation.
And then you also see the impact quite immediately. You know, the funds go to these teachers and these grants. They put what they've proposed in motion, and then you see how it helps the students. You know, why is it important to have something like this in place, a foundation that's specifically thinking about taking those next steps for teachers to enhance those lesson plans?
Yeah, it really is allowing the teachers to elevate their learning for the students. We've provided, Mrs. Caldwell's class in the middle school is learning about ancient Egyptian culture, and the foundation was able to provide materials so they could do work on papyrus paper and writing hieroglyphics and building pyramids. So it's really allowing them to learn outside of the textbook.
Juliet Jozwick also with us from the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation. How does feedback from both the teachers and the community impact both sides of the coin, the fundraising aspect and then ultimately where these grant funds go to after the proposals are in and your team decides which programs to fund?
Wonderful question. So when we read these grant applications, I feel like I'm getting an associate's in education because the the research and just the amount of work that these teachers do to really justify these purchases, and each grant can go up to $750. I I learned so much about how education helps kids, obviously, but really the science and very detailed explanation of why they need certain items. And one of the ones that I want to talk about, if I can, is at the high school they have an American Sign Language class, and they ask for green screens and ring lights so they can produce their own videos. I just, for the ASL community, how fantastic is that? Making it more mainstream. One of Dr. Bazzi asked for a grant where she sits down with kids and they go over a social contract. That social contract is a contract between the teachers and the students for the entire school year, and it's a collaborative um, uh, situation where they agree to be respectful and accountable. And this is how these kids learn how to operate in today's society, and so needed.
And these programs, Kelly, they can really have an impact on the students and the teachers. It improves the morale. It makes the teachers feel more involved in the behind the scenes that leads them into what they're able to do in the classroom. But ultimately, what matters is the kids. So how has feedback from the students themselves on some of these programs also impacted the decisions being made, maybe behind the scenes, or the way you approach your work with the foundation?
Yeah, I really think for the students, it's giving them the ability, like I said, to learn outside the textbook. And so a lot of these grants are being awarded, and it's, manipulatives or games. It's ways of making learning fun. And so it's taking it from, rather than having a teacher stand at the front of the classroom and give a lesson on something, they're able to do hands-on learning. And so I do think it helps the students be more engaged and feel like they're a part of what they're learning rather than just listening to someone talk.
And it's important, too, to have that involvement from all different elements, from, of course, the foundation, the teachers telling you what they need, putting those grant proposals forward so you have a better idea of some of what you're going to be funding going forward, and then still, the most important, what is the impact of all of this work? Juliet, going back to you, because those little fundraisers here and there that are now going to be popping up, some of the bigger fundraisers that are changing, all of those do have a pretty significant impact. So for the person at home that may be like, okay, well, I haven't gone to casino night because I'm not much of a gambler, I don't have all this disposable income, I want to maybe lose at the blackjack table or whatnot, or I don't want to attend all these events. Those little donations you can make just when you can, how far can they really go to help our classrooms here in West Bloomfield?
Well, if they don't want to attend the event, but the Kentucky Derby is going to be off the hook fun, they can go to WBEF.org and they can actually donate. We're actually working on a program to include more of our West Bloomfield alumni, and also to get some engagement with more of the community, and also having sustaining memberships where they can just keep giving every year to the foundation. But I think a couple of the other programs that we have is a Grow With Me, where they get kindergarten kits and t-shirts. We also are doing a 50-50 raffle. Yeah, we want to blow the doors off of our fundraising efforts. We want, when you see these kids absolutely their eyes in their jaw hits the ground when they see all the cool things that they can learn with. They're not toys. These teachers have researched what they want, and they're not toys. Sure, technically they're toys, but they're very, very crafted to help kids understand sharing and collaboration. And it's fantastic to see. I'm actually substitute teach whenever I can for the school district, so I see the impact from kindergarten to high school. It's fantastic.
Yeah, when you have the right tools in place, you can make learning that much more fun, that much more engaging, especially for those younger students, but even for those older students who have formed their own opinions. They're starting to mold into their own personalities. It may not mesh well with the traditional way of teaching this lesson versus that. Those things can really be that bridge between the goal of the lesson plan and the needs of the student. Really important to have all of that in place. More information on the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation is on their website on wbef.org and on social media. Follow them on Facebook and on Instagram at West Bloomfield Ed Foundation. Juliet Jozwick and Kelly Petrocella join us on the Splash Live today. Kelly, both you and Juliet have taken that big leap from not only helping out the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation by attending events and making donations, but giving your time as well for parents, for members of the community that love to support our schools. Why is joining with your team at the West Bloomfield Education Foundation the way to go to do that?
A solid school district, a school district that has kids going off to college and trade schools and having the means to really develop themselves. Having a strong school district, and I'm putting my realtor hat on now, it increases the value of homes. It just makes the community more economically viable. It increases just a wealth of people coming into the school district.
And Kelly, I want to ask sort of the same thing to you, but in a different light. Looking back on your involvement so far, what are you most proud of? What do you wish you knew going in that would have maybe inspired you to dive in earlier or dive into this fundraising work, this volunteer work with the foundation with a little bit more oomph than maybe you came in with?
Yeah, I'm most proud of all the changes that we made within the foundation. I mean, we went from basically a single fundraiser group to now we're doing multiple different things. We're trying to throw different things at the wall and see what sticks, to see what the community would enjoy and be willing to give towards. And so we've generated a lot of phenomenal ideas. I always say we're a small but mighty board, and the women that I work with on this board, I'm very proud to stand beside, and I think we're doing some great work and making some great progress.
Two great advocates for the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation, an organization that's all about advocating for our teachers and for the students at the end of the day. WBEF.org is the website for more information, including info on their big event coming up. A brand new fundraiser replacing Casino Night is their Kentucky Derby event coming up. Juliet, before we let you go, give us the details on that very fun day that will go a long way to help our teachers in 2026 and beyond.
Okay, thank you so much for this, for the ability to do a little plug here. So the event, will probably roll out our ticket sales. We do have an early bird opportunity, $80. We'll get you dinner, dancing, games, watching the race live. We will have silent auctions. We will be pulling the winner of the 50-50 raffle. So there will be a lot of action-packed things happening at the gala. We will have it at Edgewood Country Club, which was recently renovated. Like I said, we have 50-amp fuse coming in. We're just going to blow the doors off the club with the fun and the funds that we raise. And again, it goes to such a much-needed group of people, teachers and students. I mean, we all know that an educated society just does better in so many ways.
And often in classrooms, even here in West Bloomfield, those teachers from the baseline are bringing a lot of those different materials for enhanced learning in themselves from their own pockets. This allows an organization supported by teachers, by parents, by members of the community to help them out with that and enhance the learning of our students across all of our schools in the West Bloomfield School District. Juliet, thank you for joining us, and also Kelly, thank you as well for being with us on the show today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tyler.